Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let me show you how to use page numbering in Mac Pages. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 2,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So I often get questions about numbering pages in a Pages document. Here are the basics. First, there are two modes for pages: word processing mode and page layout mode. Most of what I'm going to talk about has to do with word processing mode, which is probably where you want to use page numbering. You can tell you're in word processing mode if you look in File and then you see Convert to Page Layout. This means you're currently in word processing mode. Also, if you show layout in the View menu, you'll see here in the middle of each page a large text area, and this text area flows from one page to the next. In other words, you just keep writing and it automatically adds more pages. This is word processing mode. Another thing you'll see in word processing mode are a set of headers and footers. So with Show Page Layout turned on, you could see the three boxes for the headers here, the left, right, and center boxes. Likewise, at the bottom of every page, you're going to see left, center, and right boxes for the footers. Even if you turn off Show Layout, you can still see these by simply moving your pointer over that area and they appear. So here are the footers for the first page, and you can see here are the headers for the second page. So if you add something to any one of these 6 boxes, it will be on every page in the document. So for instance, if I were to type some title here in the center box for the header, then if I go down to the next page, you can see it's there. It's on every page here. So the same content appears on every header on every page. And likewise, if I were to select it and remove it, even though I'm here on page 3, it is now gone on all the other pages. So this is how you add page numbers. Let's say you want to add a page number to the center of the bottom. So you would go to the footers here and click on the center box. When you do that, you're going to get this little pop-up here. You could just ignore it and type whatever you want. Or you can click it to insert a page number there. So you can't just type a number. Like if I type the number 1 here, I've manually entered 1 and I've told Pages that I want the text 1 to appear at the bottom of every single page. That's not what you want. Instead, what you want is to use Insert Page Number and then select one of these 4 options. I'm going to choose the first one. This also puts a 1 there, but it's only a 1 because this is page 1. It's actually a symbol representing the page number. So on page 1, it shows a 1. But if I scroll down to page 2, it shows a 2. If I scroll to page 3, it shows a 3. I only had to do that in one of the center boxes for the footer on any page for this to be on all pages. And likewise, if I delete it here on page 3, it's deleted for all pages. It's not there on page 2. It's not there on page 1 or any other page now. Now, as you saw, there's some variations to this. When I click on a blank box here, I can insert page number, and you can see I can do just the page number. I can do a page number and the word of, and then the total number of pages in the document. I can also do the word page and the page number and a combination of those two things. So let's choose this last one here. And you can see it says page 1 of 7. And if I go to the next page, you can see it says page 2 of 7. But what if I were to change this? Like maybe let's type lowercase page, or it could be a completely different word. It's reflected on all the other pages as well. I could substitute something else for the word of. I can substitute something else for the word page. I could put something after it like this, and you could see it's reflected on every single page. And in fact, you don't even need to use that little pop-up. I could delete all of that, and I can go to the Insert menu, and you could see I could insert page number or page count. So I could do page number and then a space/space and then page count, and you could see how it now puts 1/7, and on the next page it's 2/7. So these are both symbols, the page number and the page count, and then all the other text I type is just taken and reused on every single page. Now you can put this in any of the 6 boxes here. So for instance, if instead of having it on the footer, I want to have it in the header, I could say have a title here in the left box, and I can insert a page number here. Let's do insert page number space/space insert page count. And you can see that's my header now. If I go to the next page, you could see I've got the same thing. The same text here on the left that I've typed and the same page number and page count with the slash between them on the right. Now let's talk about formatting. If I were to go here in the center footer box and insert page number and choose this kind of page number here, I can go into the right sidebar under Format and change the styling for this just like you can for anything else. So if I were to select this and make it bold and maybe change the font to something else, notice now if I go to the next page, it changes there too. Matter of fact, there's even a header and footer style here. So if I were to put something here and something here, they all use the header and footer style. If I were to select this and say make it bold and let's change the color to something else like that and update the style, it updates the style that's used for all of the boxes right now. So you can do any amount of formatting. For instance, I can change this word here, just the word of. I can make that say a gray color like this, and then notice that it's going to be gray here on the other pages as well. Now let's say instead of using Arabic numbers, we want to use Roman numerals. You can do that too. So let's insert page number and just use the regular page number like that. And now if I go to the document sidebar and I go to section, you can see there's a part here that's for page numbering. And there's a format part here. So I could use capital letter, Roman numerals. I could use lowercase letter. I can even do letters like A, B, and C. Let's do lowercase Roman numerals here. And you can see how it changes the formatting here and for all of the pages. Now let's change that back to regular numbers here. And let's look at another part of this section. These little radio buttons here continue from previous section or start at a number. So notice that this isn't the document sidebar document. This is document section. So what are sections? Well, a word processing document can be broken up into sections. Now you could just have a word processing document with one section that's the entire document. And that's what we've seen so far. That's why I can set the headers and footers for one page and they're the same for the entire document. But in fact, they're just the same for the section. But if there's only one section, that's the entire document. However, what if we have multiple sections? So let's go here to the fourth page. And at the beginning of this fourth page, you can see I've got a jump from page 3 to page 4. If I actually go to View and then Show Invisibles, I could see here a symbol for a page break. Let's go to the character after that page break, the beginning of this, and delete. Hitting the delete key removes the page break, but instead of inserting a page break, this time I'm going to insert a section break. It seems to do the same thing. It's a slightly different symbol and it jumps to the next page, but now it's a different section. Look what happens if I use the thumbnails here on the left. If you don't see these, you can go to View and choose Page Thumbnails. If I select pages 1, 2, or 3, notice how there's a faint highlight around those 3 pages and not the rest. If I select pages 4 and on, there's a faint highlight around 4 and on. So it's showing you that these are 2 different sections here. So now what you can do is you can actually customize the page numbering for each section. Right now I've got this checkbox continue from previous section. That's selected for the first section, and if I click and select for the second section, that's there for the second section as well. But what if with the second section selected, I change this to start at? Now this will start at whatever this number is. So notice how page 3 ends with 3, but page 4 now goes back to 1 because I have it start at 1. I can change it to start at 2, 3, 4, and what will make more sense is say if I had it start at 8. So it jumps from page 3 to page 8. I may want to do that if perhaps I'm going to insert from some other document pages 4, 5, 6, and 7 and bind them together in a book. So I don't want it to go from 3 to 4. I want it to go from 3 to 8. Now another thing you could do is not have the headers and footers go from section to section. So for instance, with the second section selected, I can say don't match the previous section when it comes to headers and footers. If I turn that off and then let's say I add something like of and then insert and let's do page count. So now in this section here, we've got 8 of 11, 9 of 11, and so on. But that's no longer matching the previous section. So if I go to the previous section, you can see that doesn't have the of and page count because I only added that for the second section. So for the first section, it does match previous section, but for the second section here, it doesn't. So you can have your headers and footers vary from section to section by using this. And you can have the page numbers vary from section to section using this. And keep in mind, you can have section breaks whenever you want. So you can have a section as small as just one page if you need a special page that doesn't have a page number on it or represents page numbering differently. All right, so let's take a look at one more thing in word processing mode, and that's what if you have facing pages. So you can have facing pages by going to the document sidebar, document. And then in here, if you scroll down to document margins, you can turn on facing pages. Now when you do, you'll see here in the thumbnails, things represented as left and right sides, with of course the first page being on the right side and then each page after that being in pairs. Matter of fact, you can zoom out and you could see the pairs of pages like this. You do have the option under View, Zoom to actually have one page or two page view. So you probably want two page view for doing facing pages like this. Now what's interesting is that you can have headers and footers that vary from left to right. But to do that, you need to actually go to Document Section and then look for left and right pages are different. Turn that on. And of course that's per section. So if you have multiple sections, make sure you have everything selected to change it for the whole document or just the one section selected to change it for that one section. Now let's go in here and let's get rid of this page number there. And instead, let's have it so the left pages have the page number on the left side. And you can see when I do that, it inserts the number 2 there, but it didn't put anything on the right side. All the left side pages have a page number, but the right side pages don't. They're separate, so I need to put those on the right side here, and now I can see the right side pages have it. So I've got left and right like that. Basically, the left pages and right pages have separate headers and footers. So I could also put, say, the title of the book here in the center on the left side and say the title of the section or perhaps the volume number or perhaps the author's name in the center of the right side. They would be different between the left and right sides. You also have the option here to hide the headers and footers on the first page. So in this case, this may be the title page here. I could turn this on and you can see there's no footer there for the first page. So this could be something where it's just the title of the book and the author's name here and there's no page number. And then you could see here it starts on page 2. If you wanted this title page to not be page 1, you could do that by making it its own section, having a section break right here at the end of page 1, having this be filled with title things and have no header and footer content there. And then in the second section, have your headers and footers and then have it start at 1. Now most of the time when you do page numbering, you're using a word processing document. But you can actually do page numbering in a page layout document as well. So let's create one. I'm going to use the blank layout template here. So now you just have these blank pages. There's no header, there's no footer, there's no body text, nothing. Without headers and footers, there's no place for your page numbering to go. However, in the insert menu, you still do have page number and page count, and you can use them when typing text. So you can create a text box and you can put it anywhere you want. So you can put it here in the upper right hand corner and you can go in here and insert a page number. And you can type of or a slash and insert page count. And then you get those there. I can have these write justified and maybe shrink this text box a bit like that and it will sit on this page. If I were to go and insert another page like this page is also blank. If I go back to the first page, notice it says page 1 of 2 now because there are 2 pages. And I can take this box here, I can copy it, and then I could go to this page and paste it. And you can see this is page 2 of 2. These are not header and footer elements. I can put this wherever I want on each page. So you can get creative with how you use page numbering, but it technically still works. And if you get more advanced with page layout mode, you can do things like create a page template, and the template could actually have this text box on it, which could show the page number. So you do have the ability to use page numbering in page layout mode if that's what you want. So all that covers most of the uses for page numbering in Pages. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.